Hello everyone, good afternoon again with another closing bell. Shortly we're gonna see some CNBC with the closing bell, 25 minutes on the clock to go. Of course, everybody knows that Bitcoin today hit the all-time high at $64,000 and kind of went back a little bit back to 60,000, a little bit. It's more than a little bit. It was a lot, 440 right now. Still a decent 5%. So it's pretty good. No complaints at this point. I think that's the way crypto moves, and that's the way it goes. So very indecisive graphic. I think we are seeing. We're gonna cover two stocks at the closing. Both has earnings today, and I have play on both. Right now, you're watching a video on your video. C3.ai. Of course, AI cannot be outside, but as you can see in the C3.ai, a hit close. We're looking at 3 minutes chart, and it hit today probably open 28th, so open low at 9:36, 29 went all the way up around 11 o'clock. Somebody tried to short over here at $30, and right now it's trading. There's two blocks, the BOB, BOMB. So I think this, with the whole AI situation, I believe this got to run a little bit. So let's take a look in the weekly chart. So as you can see in the weekly chart, C3.ai came from all the way. The all-time high was somewhere around here, 182, and they short all the way down to 70, and then they short all the way down to $8. Sorry. So they have this buy here around 11, and then kind of another buy at 22. As you can see, we have a lot of old kind of draw that I have in the past, kind of like hidden. This used to be the blocks at this price range, so kind of like hit over there and went down. So big resistance on this $30 range, $30 to $39 range. As soon as we pass through 47, it might go back, hit over here close to the 60s. But at this point, I would say, unless the bulls are in control, what I think they are, so we're gonna go close to the $58. Probably not this earnings, unless they come up something big, and then we hit over here. Other than that, I don't see it. It might even go down back to the 21, kind of like support, $19 support, and hopefully I got both ways. I'll always try to cover myself up and down, because I don't know, the chart doesn't look good. It looks like almost the formation it had in shoulders, but kind of have this like hammer over here at the bottom, another hammer here at the top, but it's big engulf candle against this one, so might be bullish on this side. So 20 minutes to go. Okay, the second one, related with crypto, it's Marathon Digital Holdings, MARA. We're looking at 3 minutes chart right now. MARA, it's let's take a look at the weekly chart to see if we can see something a little bit more. I don't know. I don't see much going on. Hit a big time all-time high with the Bitcoin at $64,000 at $82. Then they sell all the way down, probably capitulation to 19. Then they have this going up over here, and then they short at 30, pushing the stock all the way down to $5. Try to create a little support, didn't work. Then went down to $3 at the beginning of this year, and now it started like try to move up to 17, shorted again. Seller, whoever buy at 3, sold at 17. You see, because I don't see much unless another charts we see like a day chart or something like that. We see like the blocks from the sell positions, but other than that, in the weekly chart. So try to move something almost like a cupping handle. Didn't go much as a cupping handle. Didn't go much as a head and shoulder. Almost like a little head and shoulder, but I don't know. So then we got today moving this big 28% right now from this low price of 23. So we got the $30. This is the weekly charts. It's the weekly from 24 open to 30 close, plus 22%, 28%. We plus 28%. So we see a trading inside the block, Bitcoin trading inside the block big time a couple months ago, and I don't know if we're gonna move higher or if we go of course with the Bitcoin at $60,000 and being a mining company, we might kill this and probably go up somewhere around here at 43 or even higher, maybe 50, I don't know. We see. We have a couple of minutes to see how it goes. Okay, there's two companies. To see the at the pause closing, we have to be in a low chart, so it had to be like at 3 minutes. Then they're gonna show me like what the stock goes up and down. At 3 minutes, as you can see here, we got the $34 block, short positions, 32, one at 34, 132, and the buy positions at 29, and also both at 29 range. So let's see if the bulls, it might drop here and then boom, hit it up again and kill this blocks over here at the top. And let's move to the C3.ai. 3 minutes, and C3.ai is trading inside the buy blocks, but they're selling. So I don't know what's going on. I don't see much. At 3 minutes, they only have this at the top at $30, and then that's it. It should be bounced back in this price range, but at this point, nothing happened with C3.ai. Okay, so let me see. Let's show you guys this. This website here, I think I'm signed over here. No, actually, it's open. Let's open another chart. And let's open at the short and let's go to the Bitcoin. 15 minutes to closing bell. Let's bring to you guys CNBC. Oh, look at that. What is that? Oh, computers acting weird lately.
Speaking of not United Health, let's talk about United Health. It's a big drag on the Dow after the Department of Justice launches an antitrust investigation into the company. The Wall Street Journal reports that investigators are looking into the relationship between its insurance unit and its health services arm, which owns physician groups. The move is part of the Biden's administration push to lower drug prices. Shares are down about 3%. Got through it, Scott.
All right, yes, you did, Christina. As always, thank you so much, Christina Partsinevelos. Still ahead, we get you set up for Salesforce, the software giant reporting results in overtime. We'll tell you what to watch for coming up. First, though, a quick message as CNBC celebrates Black Heritage.
It's truly an homage to reflect on the stories of those that have broken barriers and inspire the next generation. It was representation like Ursula Burns that allowed me to see the possibilities of becoming a president and CEO of FedEx Custom Critical. I humbly understand my assignment and responsibility to have a positive impact through my contributions and paving the way for our community.
Okay, they are commercial right now, and this is the Bitcoin today. Guys watching right now, the Binance 3 minutes. I told, hit it 64. Boom. Choo. All the way down to 58. Unbelievable. It was, I think a merger before was like 8% drop in 15 minutes. Nobody mentioned anything like that. So now it's kind of holding at 6,000. It's my other computer. Got us some alerts. It's Bill Much over there. Okay, so it traded 60,000. It can even drop to 58. It should be okay. It's okay, no big deal. And big capitulation, big sell position, 3 minutes. Let's take a look in the weekly chart, how we're looking at. And the weekly chart, it's me playing like buying sell positions on Bitcoin. But if you zoom in, so I think I have videos on your Bitcoin kind of show that I really don't like when this happened. This was side trade for, this is the weekly chart, so like for almost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks. So it was about from December, the last week of December, all the way up to the last a month. Okay, even say 9 weeks. I don't know why. So it should be 2 months, but yeah, month of December pretty much, and then a month of January, and then we have the week of February, the first one with 13%, and then the second week February with another 8%. Then we have this week here, the third week of February, which is just 0.78% correction, I should say that. And then this last week of February, we have 16% 0.46% higher. So right now it opened at $51,000 at the beginning of the week, and is right now trading at 60, probably closing somewhere around 60,216. So this is kind of like in a candle formation that it would be the three white shoulders if not this one. So I don't know how to read this one right now. We're in a closing bell situation. Okay, it's not yet. Let me lower here. So okay. If you zoom in, so kind of like, I think I can do here, a little lower. This could be at this price some type of resistance. So let's see. But the most important thing that I was concerned about it was the side trade on Bitcoin. We're looking at Bitcoin right now at Binance, the weekly chart. So we are kind of like, I posted a video before saying that I didn't like this situation, but right now we are very, I believe so far, very on the health side for the crypto and ETFs and everything. And Michael Saylor is gonna come up something new with Bitcoin. So I believe we're gonna see it. The price is even moving higher. I think they're calling that 69,000. Okay, guys, 6 minutes closing bell. Let's move over here.
Senior markets commentator Mike Santoli here to break down the crucial moments of this trading day. plus 2 earnings releases out in overtime that we are watching closely. Kate Rooney on Salesforce, Julia Boorstin on Paramount. Mike Santoli, I'll turn to you because we're going to turn to PCE.
Yep.
Maybe that's one of the key determining factors as to whether the broadening of this market, which is legit,
something over
continues.
here.
Yeah, it's a matter of whether the market has been hesitating ahead of that, maybe as the bulk of earnings came through, and then that's the next big macro touch point. I mean, I think we're at an interesting moment where the S&P has really been tethered to levels it first got to 2 weeks ago, right in the 50-50 area. And as you've been mentioning, the tape action's healthy underneath. There is a lot of participation. I don't think, though, even though it's a bull market, it's acting like a bull market. That means the overshoots happen to the upside. The persistence of this rally has been getting it the benefit of the doubt. All that said, it doesn't give me a lot of conviction to say that the next 3 to 5% is definitely up versus down, just because of the seasonal stuff, the positioning stuff, the fact that you're starting to see a little bit of the aggressive fast money action on the fringes of the market,
like biotechs and Bitcoin even. Right?
So
Bitcoin was, I don't know, the range in Bitcoin alone today was unbelievable.
It was like a 10% range or something. And so, yes, all that stuff shows you there's this sort of high energy flow in the market. It's okay. This is what happens at the latter phases. But you had this thing where we got to find the next NVIDIA. We're going to decide it's SMCI or it's ARM. We got to find the next Chipotle. It's going to be Wingstop or Kava. And they're all ripping. And so I think that can be fine. It's still part of the rotational story. But it does leave me a little bit cautious about whether that tone can just continue without getting a little bit of a check on it.
Well, tech earnings have been good.
Very good.
We're going to get another check from Salesforce. Kate Rooney in overtime. What should we expect here?
Hey, Scott. Yeah, so Salesforce is really seen as a barometer for enterprise spending and front office budgets, so it's a key software report to watch. Watch 2025 guidance. Will they indicate an acceleration in booking, for example? And then for the prior quarter, watch CRPO. That's a booking metrics for Salesforce. Margins are key as well. Wall Street's looking for 31.5% non-GAAP operating margins, and then revenue growth rates as well. CEO Mark Benioff's commentary about what he's seen in the market, that's going to be closely watched. And any comments about AI, what's in the pipeline?
Okay, if I don't have a Salesforce, I'm gonna show to you guys Salesforce, and let's see this one. No, take this off. Oh, it's not gonna work. Yeah, on the Salesforce right now, 3 minutes.
Julia Boorstin, what are you looking for?
Well, when Paramount reports after the bell, all eyes will be on its streaming division, along with what the company could say about potential M&A. Now, Paramount is expected to report declining revenue and a loss of 1 cent per share. But the most important area to watch is its direct-to-consumer division, which is expected to report a loss of nearly $550 million. That would be more than double the loss in the third quarter, but a slight improvement from the year-ago period. Now, the division is expected to add about 4 million subscribers. That's more than 1 million more than it added in Q3. So the question is whether the streaming division's growth can compensate for losses or declines in Paramount's traditional businesses, and also how those pressures on the traditional media business impact its outlook on potentially selling the company. Scott?
Okay, Julia Boorstin, thanhanks so much. We'll see you in overtime with that. All right. Any insulation
2 minutes
of sorts around the PCE because of hot CPI, hot PPI? We sort of expect that it's maybe a worse than expected number, or at least hotter, and we'll just sort of explain it away by, yeah, we knew it was coming.
I've been toying with that idea, but also it could end up being, the third one. All of a sudden makes a trend. And so, it obviously could break either way. And I'm very interested to see how the market digests it, because what the market has managed to digest pretty well is yields going up, to 2-3 month highs, depending on what you're looking at, the 2 or the 10-year Treasury. That's been okay. We've obviously repriced the Fed curve pretty aggressively. Doesn't look like we're getting 5+ cuts. We maybe only get 3 if we get that. Who knows when they're going to start? And the stock market has been okay with it because of the reasons, because of how the economy's behaved. So, I think we should be able to generally look through a quirky hot number, but you're going to have plenty of people who are anticipating this idea that the disinflationary trend has been interrupted in a bigger way. And then you're going to have people say, well, maybe we do have to slow the economy more to get there. So I don't know is the short answer to that, but the bond market seems to at least been registering a little apprehension about this. If you look at the inflation break-evens based on market action, they've been trending higher. They got from like 2% on the 5-year anticipated inflation to like 2.4%. Still benign, but it's changed.
Am I going to go a little bit longer than that?
Already, and then sort of kind of hanging out and holding steady. Yeah. To the degree that when we're talking about stocks, I haven't really been mentioning tick by tick of what the 10-year has been doing. It's just been hanging out.
You haven't had to. They've been range bound is the big picture way of viewing it. The other part of it is credit spreads just keep getting tighter. So yields are not going up on corporate debt. They're going up on treasuries more. And that's just keeping the corporate financial conditions very easy. And it's even to the point where massive issuance of corporate debt in February, really near record, and yet the market just didn't even have a hiccup about it.
Well, the bell's going to ring in a moment. S&P and Dow are going to go out. Not quite flat, but not that far from it either. As we look ahead to that PCE report in the morning, we'll digest it all. I'll run you through it tomorrow when I see you on Closing Bell. Now to OT with Morgan and John.
Well, the Dow extending its losing streak to a third day. Stocks in general.
Now I take the audio. Let me go here and here. Bitcoin at the closing bell actually closed around 6,300. Mara it's hitting the block at 31, and they try to short. Salesforce hit it up to 300 something, and Salesforce is going up, and Mara holding. Right now, C3.ai kind of like showed 29.85. I don't know why it's not moving. So Salesforce is dropping 290, 280 right now. 290 to 280, 0.5%. Mara big block at 1 minute. Just show up. It's going down a little bit. Big block in a minute. It just kind of pops up at 31. C3.ai, I don't know why it's not showing. $30 right now. 29. Salesforce taking a hit, 2%. Bitcoin's retracting 0.5% after the closing. We got an alert. Paramount, that don't mean nothing for me. I don't follow them. Mara hit at 31. The bears try to push. Big block buy. Let's see if you're gonna stay. You're gonna disappear. C3.ai at 30. C3.ai $30 still. Salesforce 2%. Mara hit the block and a buy. It kind of holds. This is Mara here on the down right. And Salesforce over here. This is C3.ai at 31. 31 right now. Bitcoin here down the bottom on the left. $60,000. Gonna try to hold at this price. Try to short it. C3.ai 31. Need more than that. Salesforce. Salesforce is 280. 280 in the Salesforce. Try to bounce back. I don't know. C3.ai might hit some sell position. Mara is kind of like hanging in there at 31. Try to short Bitcoin too. Let's move the Bitcoin in 1 minute. Yeah, that's the reason. Kind of like hit the bottom over here. Okay, C3.ai 32. Disappear. 32. 33. Okta. Damn, I knew I should have played that one. 15% Okta. Oh my god. Probably would have paid. Oh, 5 minutes. Oh my god. %17% Okta. Again. Okay, C3.ai 34. Salesforce not moving much. See, 5 minutes. It dropped 5%, but come back 1, so it's 4%. Maracas is holding 31. Okay, Salesforce, they have the news now.
Including the fact that we've got a 40-cent dividend, we've got another 10 billion share repurchase, and it looks like full year fiscal 25 revenue guidance up 8 to 9% here, and a couple other numbers as well that are similar, including subscription and support revenue growth guidance up about 10% year on year as well.
Yeah, well, I think it's really nice news that they're doing a dividend and a share buyback, because it obviously reflects management's confidence in the ongoing business, earnings, free cash flow. But I think going into this, they've had the last, 7-8 quarters where they have really focused on margin improvement, cost efficiency. They had a number of activist investors in there, and they've done a fantastic job. But going into this, people really want to see what is the ongoing sales growth, because the margin cost efficiency story is pretty much played out. There can be room for some improvement, but really what's going on in sales. And I think that's, what we need to see and hear from management, because the revenue growth sounds good, but it's not spectacular. So we have to see, the AI products are going to be contributing more in the second half of this year. We want to know about the ramp in that and really what they see for future growth, because this is not as high as I think investors would like to see.
Yeah, Barb, hold on. Speaking of artificial intelligence, C3 AI earnings are out. That's
that stock spiking more than 10% here in overtime. They got a revenue beat. Revenue came in at $78.4 million versus $76.1 expected. The EPS loss, 13 cents versus a loss of 28 cents expected. And the guide, the midpoint of the guide, just about bang on, but the range higher than expected, a range of 82 to 86 million. It's 84 at the midpoint. The street was looking for 83.9 guide for Q4. We've, of course, got the CEO of C3 AI, as we mentioned, coming up. I've also got Nutanix numbers. Can we do those, or we need to hold on? We've also got Nutanix numbers out. Those are a beat. That stock is moving higher in overtime as well. At least it was. It's now just about flat to slightly lower. Those are beats across the board. A beat on the top line, beat on the bottom line, beat on the guide. We're going to hear from the CEO of Nutanix, Rajiv Ramaswamy, in just a bit. But let's see. Do we have Snowflake as well? Okay, not yet, but that is coming.
You're a triple threat today, John.
There's a lot going on. I'm not doing Snowflake, but there's a lot going on in the data space that we want to get you. We do have Snowflake ready. Kate Rogers has that. Kate?
Hey, John. As you can see, the stock is moving lower here on this report. EPS a beat, 35 cents adjusted, higher than the 18 cents estimated. Snowflake's revenue also a beat, $775 million for the quarter versus estimates of $759 million. An executive change here. Frank Slootman has decided to retire as CEO. Sridhar Ramaswamy has been named as Chief Executive Officer. More comments here on guidance sees Q1 product revenues in a range of $745 to $750 million. That's a little bit lower than the $759 million that had been estimated by Street Account. And as you can see, the stock falling by about 24% now. Back over to you.
Wow. Okay. Thank you for that, Kate. This is huge because Frank Slootman has taken 3 companies public successfully. Sridhar Ramaswamy we know well. This is CEO of Neeva, former Google search leader who had tried to take on Google in search with Neeva. Snowflake just bought that company. So for him to be the new leader there, brought in to help bolster Snowflake's AI stance is definitely interesting. We'll be reaching out to him for sure. This could be also what's bringing down Nutanix after hours is what I wonder about, because it's in this data space and Snowflake is down so huge. Nutanix's results actually very strong. So this is going to be an interesting one to dive into a little bit more in just a couple moments.
Okay, we're looking forward to that. In the meantime, Snowflake CEO Frank Slootman will break down those results and those succession plans on Mad Money tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern. Barb, I'll go to you because we just ran through a whole list of names, and I guess we'll start with Snowflake. Whether it's the results themselves or whether it's succession plans, when you're talking about a heavyweight within the tech space that's now retiring.
Yeah, I think Snowflake has yet to really live up to its long-term potential. I mean, we know it's scalable, it's flexible, it's really seems to be the technology of the future in that space, but they have not been at top ticking in terms of their growth. And so even today, I owned a little bit in portfolios and I sold it. It was only held in 5 accounts, but I sold it because just reading and getting updated on the flow and the macro uncertainty and their clients and where they are with AI, I thought there's really too much out there, and the stock has had a big run this year and also last year. And it's not cheap. At 243 times forward earnings, I said there is no room for error here. So I think that's actually a big problem, is that it just is not living quite up to expectations, which I think is probably why Nutanix is down. I mean, that also, I think the expectations there were great, and the stock is up almost 23% year to date, over 100% in the last year. So I think that's also a little bit of a victim of high expectations.
Yeah, but once we get to those numbers, we might see that those expectations have been met. Pure Storage, I want to mention. We're not going to give you those numbers right now, but it is up 9% after hours. We're going to hear from the CEO, Charlie Giancarlo, on the other side of the next break. Mike Santoli, this is a strong showing from some enterprise names across hardware and software. If we're talking about Pure Storage, we're talking about the actual results, if not the move from Nutanix, from C3 AI. Snowflake perhaps the exception, but there's a story building here post-NVIDIA.
It does seem as if that's the case, and the market in general has kind of been on pause since the initial pop following NVIDIA's numbers. I keep talking about that this morning. We've gone sideways for a week, and that's okay, kind of digesting it. This is the tail end of the important earnings, so I do think that this is going to round out the picture of a not just better than expected, but an earnings trajectory that is probably outperforming what you might have expected, and it solidifies the idea that we did have a real inflection in the third quarter of last year. That's big picture stuff. Right now, in terms of what you're talking about, in terms of the willingness of investors to put those old big multiples on some of the software names, that remains to be seen.
Okay. Mike, stay close. We've got a news alert on Electronic Arts now. Steve Kovac has the details.
Hey there, Morgan. Yeah, Electronic Arts is cutting about 5% of its employees. This is just coming out now. I'm looking at a letter sent by CEO Andrew Wilson to employees announcing the reductions. 5% would be over 600 employees as a whole number based on their last published employee count. Also saying here they are going to be canceling some games that were previously in development from what they're calling licensed IP, not saying which games they were. They're probably unannounced games that they were working on, and instead having some team members focus away from those games onto what they're calling, their most engaging games, i.e. the games that make the most money. You can read into that as the sports games, the Madden NFL game, the upcoming NCAA football game, and also, of course, their soccer game, EA Football Club, is another one. Also going to be shutting down some office space, it looks like here. But this is the third major video game layoff news that we've gotten, guys, in recent weeks. Yesterday, we had Sony Interactive Entertainment, that's the PlayStation company, of course, laying off 900. And then a couple weeks ago, Microsoft's gaming division, after the Activision acquisition, laid off about 1,900 people. So lots of job losses here in the game industry. And you see shares here. Looks like unchanged right now, guys.
All right, quick question for you. I mean, at a time where we saw so much belt tightening in the past, we'll call it year, among the tech companies, I mean, the gaming companies are they're like the other bucket of gaming companies. Is it just that they've been late to this party, or does it speak to other industry dynamics that are afoot, whether it is the Microsoft acquisition or something else?
It's a little different. I mean, you also got to keep in mind that these gaming companies saw huge growth during the pandemic, and kind of like we saw during, not saying this is necessarily what happened at all the gaming companies, but kind of realizing and readjusting those costs. Also, just gaming habits are changing. So much focus goes onto these giant online games that we're seeing what Electronic Arts is talking about here. They're really just refocusing those efforts, to where the customers are going and playing, and that includes these big online games, these sporting games. In EA's case, Sony PlayStation yesterday was a little bit different, and of course it was a little bit different on the Xbox side, just kind of rationalizing a lot of stuff with the Activision. So it's not a perfect answer either way, but that's what we're looking at, Morgan.
Steve Kovac, thank you. Bob Garant, I want to get back to you, and specifically on Nutanix. We're going to have more from the CEO in just a moment. But this stock has been moving around like crazy after hours. It's now down fractionally, close to 1%. But what wasn't clear to me, I had to search for this in the release, the EPS, non-GAAP EPS beat is actually quite large. They turned in 46 cents versus 29 cents expected. They also beat on the top line with 565.2 million versus 551.3 million expected. You talked about expectations here, and we're about to hear from the CEO about market share that he's taking from VMware. How are you playing, if at all, the shifts that are happening in enterprise, in the data center, around who's got advantage as companies prepare for AI?
Well, I think you do have to keep up on all the changes that's happening so rapidly. And for instance, in this company, it was a real question about VMware, who just got acquired. They're in somewhat disrupted, and Nutanix, had just done a deal with Cisco to do a joint venture in their channel together. And the word is the bookings have been great. So there's big growth coming and all that. The hybrid cloud model, where people don't want to just put everything in the public cloud, they want to keep some on premise, is what this company caters to. And there seems to be big customer acceptance. So this is, and this means that if their earnings were better, their revenue's better, there's clearly getting a lot of traction with customers, and there's probably a very long runway for growth. I'd have to see more, in the call.
Okay, we got a lot to dig into here through the rest of the hour. Barbara Duran and our own Mike Santoli, thanks for kicking it off with us. We're going to see We've got HP earnings actually now, and we're going to go back to Steve Kovac for those. Steve.
Hey, Morgan. Yeah, pretty much in line here. We got earnings per share here for HP right in line, 81 cents versus the 81 cents adjusted. The street was like.
Okay, guys. So I didn't cover Salesforce. Even I showed you guys because it would be like a big company to cover. Okta is another one that I didn't got into it, but the one that got a smack in the face, it would have paid a lot. It was Snowflakes. They are down big time, about 20%, 24% right now. Actually, with this one, so like 22%. So that imply close to 55 points. And 1 point at 55 plus 2 plus 2, 51 right now. 51 points for Snowflakes. This one happened always. The next day it might continue. We have C3.ai on the 13%. And the Marathon drop initially to 27, but bounced back to 30. So still waiting for the results. They're gonna have a C3.ai CEO coming up on over time. $49, $40, $25. Oh my God. Yeah, it's going down more. There's Snowflake. Back in the 55-ish. C3.ai, am I gonna save me? Gotta go to the 37. Not sure you guys gonna be able to see it. It's called Option Strategy to see how much money. It's my play. I got 2 puts at 25, 1 call at 33. So call pay right now. 34 is paying $400 tomorrow. Then try is 300. Making $100 at this point. Hopefully go up higher. It looks like it's moving higher. Past 37, we're gonna be good. So 37 is 25%. 34.9 right here, 18, 15. 35, 18%. We are good. Mod is moving up right now. You got the little Mata has this 1 minute kind of sell position over here that kind of hold the price. Hopefully we got passed through this. There you go. Might be the results might be out. Pure Storage 9%. PSTG. I mean, I don't know why Smata took the first hit. I mean, Bitcoin $60,000. When it was 64, it went all the way up. What's the difference now? back in the game. Why is it not $40 at this point? Okta is making a killer. Okay, the 1 minute this sold. Got hammer. Come back again. It's that. I don't know why it's that. I don't know why is that happening. Really don't know. Yes. Why you pause on the video? It's not the next. They're talking about has some relationship with C3.ai, so I don't know what.
Also, the full year revenues are a beat, got into a range of 2.12 to 2.15 billion versus 2.12 billion expected. I also spoke with Nutanix CEO Rajiv Ramaswamy this afternoon about what drove a particularly strong bottom line beat and how he's taking advantage of Broadcom's purchase of VMware.
There is the renewals business, which is providing a solid foundation with high gross revenue retention rates that gives us a lot of cushion, right? And then on top of that, we add the new business that we are winning every quarter. VMware, historically, I worked there, great technology company, but this acquisition changes the relationship with customers. Broadcom's model is, of course, to maximize the value of these assets in the next few years. And customers are feeling it now with the actions that they see after the acquisition is closed, right? Pricing changes, partners are feeling it, much smaller number of partners. So there's a fair amount of disruption with that customers and partners are both seeing.
Common theme here with these two companies, enterprise buying overall has stabilized. Some players seem to be grabbing share if their tech helps more with the on-ramp to AI.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, that seems to be the bottom line now. Salesforce and Snowflake, meanwhile, both seeing their stocks fall in overtime after they reported just moments ago. And joining us now to discuss those results, Hillary Frisch, who is Senior Research Analyst at ClearBridge, and Charlie Miner, Sector Analyst at Third Bridge. A lot of bridges, right? To understanding, I hope. Welcome to both of you. Hillary, you're here with us on set. Thank you. I want to talk about Snowflake first. This is a huge drop for them. Frank Slootman, who's been so visible on his way out the door, but we've got, Sridhar Ramaswamy coming in, a known quantity from Google, from Neeva. What do you do with a stock like this at this level when data is so important to this transformation that's happening?
Great question, John. Thanks for having me. Good to see you, Morgan. Yes, I think that's precisely it. Data is so important. The CEO transition is a bit of a shock to Wall Street, but honestly, I think something like this has been in the works for a while. Sridhar is a tremendous technologist. He's extremely well respected. He is especially well expected in the arena of Gen AI, and I think he's going to bring a lot of tremendous things to Snowflake. I also see they posted a good quarter, generally speaking, a hair light of the whisper, but very good on product revenues, a few points better than expected, and very good on aggregate bookings. And I think this guide probably reflects the fact that all of these consumption cloud names are being pretty conservative, and also they probably want to set a more conservative bar for the incoming CEO.
All right, from ClearBridge now to Third Bridge, let's talk about Salesforce as well. The stock is down a little bit more than 4% right now in overtime. Is this a buying opportunity, or have we finally run out of some of that goodwill around the cost cuts here, Charlie?
Yeah, it was a really strong Q4 report. Analysts and investors wanted to see top-line momentum heading into 2025, indicating that AI had this opportunity to be a growth catalyst for the business. They obviously came in below on revenue for the year, which is driving the stock down right now. we know that people are going to use AI. We know companies are going to sign up for these betas. The question is, though, at the end of 2024 into 2025, are they going to start to sign the large deals, these multi-million-dollar contracts that are going to be the growth catalyst that we're all hoping it's ultimately going to be?
Yeah, I mean, just sticking with Salesforce right now, it really seems like the stock is under pressure because of the guidance and the fact that you're looking at high single-digit guidance in terms of revenue looking forward. I mean, they did recently just launch this Einstein AI platform. How much do we think that's even baked into that guidance? Or again, you know, to use the word conservative, is that something where we're going to have to wait for the call to get a little bit more context, and it could be something that actually provides upside risk this year?
Thanks. So, yes, it's really the question. But what's interesting is current bookings to flow through to revenues over the next 12 months were actually 12%. They were higher than that last quarter, but they've generally been in an acceleration trend. And that's without any of the benefit of Gen AI, something called the Data Cloud, which Salesforce has introduced, which is essentially a precursor to Gen AI adoption at scale. And they also had price increases flowing through. So in terms of conservatism, consensus had the same growth, and the guidance is for just below that this year than what Salesforce did last year. But they have all these catalysts, a few points from product growth, perhaps a point or two from Data Cloud growth, and toward the very end of the year, we'll start to get Gen AI contribution minimally, but we'll start to see it. So I think this is a good conservative guide, allowing for the environment to get a little worse if they need it to, and comps ease.
Yeah. Charlie, I mean, whether it's Salesforce, whether it's some of the other names that you follow so closely, I mean, what is the read-through that we are getting and the setup for 2024 at a time where there is all this focus on enterprise tech spending, whether we're seeing in the midst of what's been an uncertain macro environment? We've heard about this for the past year, where we've seen Gen AI and any kind of applications, any kind of investments, opportunities that are going to fulfill Gen AI seem to be the area that are getting dollars. Is that a trend that's going to continue? Is it going to accelerate? Is a name like Salesforce going to benefit from it this year?
Yeah, you know, despite Salesforce's run over the last 12 months, bringing it up almost 80%, might drop a little bit below that now after hours, but the macro headwinds continue for Salesforce. I mean, these large-scale digital transformations, those are not really happening right now. Most of this growth is coming from cross-sell. Now, as we get into 2025, are we going to see companies reevaluating their vendor spend? More than likely, yes. This is a once-in-a-decade opportunity as companies roll out these AI tools to actually go out and take share in some of these different CRM service types of categories where historically the products are very sticky. So looking at someone like a Microsoft Dynamics, they've never really had a win opportunity against Salesforce. It's really hard to take that share. Could AI be that catalyst to start driving some wins for them, for other players in this space? Certainly. So AI being looked at as an opportunity as well as a threat for Salesforce. In terms of other catalysts, the Service Cloud continues to be performing very well for the Salesforce business. That's an area where we expect earlier AI adoption. So that'll be an important guide over the next couple of quarters. But certainly a lot of momentum here for the business as a whole. They'll just need to continue to find ways to drive that cross-selling growth until macro headwinds likely subside later in 2024 into 2025.
Okay. Charlie Miner and Hillary Frisch, thank you for joining us with shares of Snowflake down 22% and Salesforce, which we know is a Dow component as well, down 4%. It's going to be one to watch across the major averages tomorrow. Well, do Americans still have an appetite for dining out? Up next, we're going to get the dish on what restaurant earnings are saying about the state of consumer spending.
And Bitcoin's boom just keeps rolling, crossing over 61,000 today, but that's not translating into good news for Bitcoin miners. They were all under pressure. Overtime, we'll be right back.
Bankers.
Well, this next earnings report is going to be a hoot. Duolingo is out. I'll toss it over to Pippa Stevens with that stock up 21% in overtime. Pippa.
Yeah, John, shares are surging here after Duolingo beat on the top and bottom line in the fourth quarter, earning 26 cents per share. That was 9 cents ahead of estimates. Revenue coming in at $151 million ahead of the $148 million expected. The company also gave strong Q1 and full year revenue guidance and said that during the fourth quarter, its daily active users were up 65% year over year, with the monthly active users up 46%. The stock now rising 21%. Morgan?
All right, big move there. Pippa Stevens, thank you. It's not just retail results. Restaurant earnings are offering key insights on the consumer as well. Dine Brands reported a beat and expects sales to keep rising this year across its two main brands, IHOP and Applebee's. CEO John Peyton telling me just earlier he's been surprised by the resilience of customers.
Our guests look like America, right? Because we're in 3,600 markets across the U.S., all 50 states, families, retirees, all sorts, everyone in America. And so what we see is that they are resilient and they're dining out once or twice less a quarter than they might have in the past. But when they do dine out, Morgan, they want to have an experience.
So whether Applebee's or IHOP, he says guests have been increasingly gravitating towards value. Think limited time offers. So Dine expects that promotion-driven environment to continue. It's leaning in on it. Food costs as well, those continue to come down. That's playing out across the industry. Case in point, Portillo's, which reported better than expected results yesterday, with CEO Michael Osanloo telling me they may be done with menu price hikes.
We think that the inflation for us in our food basket peaks in the second quarter and then comes down in the third and fourth quarter. And our hope and expectation is that we exit 24 with inflation, honestly, low single digits.
So consumers may be pulling back on goods, but services, including dining out, well, that's still benefiting from consumers' spending. That's something we've been seeing in the macro data as well. It's a theme with Dine, it's a theme with Portillo's, but also Cava with sales up double digits. Domino's, even Wingstop, which saw shares surge after earnings just a few days ago. If you want to watch the full interviews with Portillo's and Dine Brands, you can check them out on our LinkedIn page, CNBC Overtime, where we get into all kinds of details, both about the companies and also the macro insights and what it says about the economy and the consumer writ large. John?
There's a lot there. C3 AI shares continue to surge in overtime after a revenue beat. You can see them there up 14%. Up next, the CEO, Tom Siebel, is going to break down those numbers before he dials into the earnings call when overtime returns.
Okay, guys, this break, I'm gonna take a little bit off. Thanks for watching, and see you next time on the next